Welcome back, class 9 to the bio online classes. Already we have completed the last two chapters. Now we are going to start with the third chapter, which is very important for the examination point of view, that is genetics. So what is genetics? First I write the definition of genetics is the branch of biology which deals with the study of heredity and variation. So what is genetics? Branch of biology that deals with the study of heredity and variations. Now I'll explain both the terms. Okay, what is heredity? Two words are used here. Heredity means the transfer of or transmission of genetic information from the parents to their offspring. So what is heredity? It is the transfer of genetic information from parents to their offspring. Like whatever characters are there, suppose the curly hair, that character of curly hair or the height of a person is transferred from the parents to their children, and that process is called heredity. Such characters which are transferred from the parents to their children, they are called hereditary characters. So what is hereditary characters? The characters which are transferred from one generation to the other, they are called hereditary characters. Example of hereditary characters: color, the color of a person. Okay, it can be the height, it can be the shape and size of an organism, it can be in terms of their intelligence, and many more we can write. Okay, height, color and all we can take. This can be developed also, intelligence. Okay, now next is the second word, variations. I didn't say. What is variations? Even though the parents produce the children, all the children or the siblings, you can say brothers and sisters, they do not resemble each other, although they belong to the same parents. So that differences which is present among the individuals of the same species, like all human beings belong to the same species, but all of them are not similar to each other. So those differences are called variations. So in short, you can write the definition as differences among the individuals of a species is called variation. Okay. Now next we will study about who is known as father of genetics. It is Gregor John. In short, you can learn the word Mendel. Mendel is called the father of genetics. Why he is called the father of genetics? Because he is the one who discovered all the three laws of heredity: first law, second law and third law, which we will study later on in this chapter. Now some light, or we'll study about Mendel first. Who was that person Mendel? What he had done, or what was his contribution in genetics? And who were the other scientists that helped in the development of genetics? Today is a modern branch of science, genetics, in which we study about different types of characters and their transmission from the parents to their children. So now next is Gregor John Mendel. He is called the father of genetics, and he was born in Austria. He worked as a teacher for 14 years, and later on he devoted his time in the monastery also, and just behind the monastery there was a garden. He was very fond of or attracted to gardening. So what he had done, from the salesman he bought different varieties of garden pea. So the plant on which he had done his experiment was garden pea. The scientific name of garden pea is Pisum sativum. It is asked in the examination also. Name the plant on which Mendel performed his experiments. Mendel performed his experiments. What experiments? The experiments of hybridization. Hybridization means he brought about two different plants with different characters. Suppose a tall plant, he crossed them. Crossing means he fertilized it with the dwarf plant to obtain a new hybrid. So hybrid means a plant which contain, plant or animal can be also a hybrid, an organism which is formed by the crossing of two different individuals of different characters. So suppose if I take, in case of plant, a mango which is bearing very large size of mango fruit, but it is not sweet in taste. The other mango is small in size, bearing very sweet, or the mango is very sweet in taste. So if we cross those two mango plants, we can get the hybrid mango plant, in which the size will be also bigger, as well as the taste will be also nice. It will be more better. So in this way we have developed many varieties of hybrid plants and animals which are useful to us in increasing our production, as well as to get the desired characters of plants and animals. Now next, this person Gregor Mendel, he worked for almost 33 years. He had done all the experiments, but his work was unnoticed. He had given his research or all the experiments to publish in Natural History Society of Brunn. Although it was published, but at that time the scientists were not that much aware about genetics, so they overlooked him, or they thought it is useless, whatever his experiments are there, and then neglected his work. So he died in the year 1900. The principles of genetics, when he died, he thought himself to be a failure, that I am unable to prove my experiments on pea plant for genetics. He didn't know that his experiment or his work was successful. So in the year 1900, three scientists, they worked independently, means alone, individually they worked, not together. The name were Correns, Semak, and one more scientist is there, Correns, Semak and De Vries, Hugo De Vries, all from three different countries. These three scientists, they rediscovered Mendel's work. Rediscovered Mendel's work. Means what they had done? They had also done experiments on the different plants, and the results which they obtained, they found that it was already done by Gregor John Mendel. Mendel had already established, or he had already done all these experiments, and he had provided the proof also in his research that whatever work he has done. But since it was neglected that time, it was these three scientists who rediscovered Mendel's work. So that's why even they rediscovered the Mendel's work. They didn't got any, what we say, the honor for their work. They honored Mendel only by regarding him as the father of genetics, because he was the first one, or the pioneer, to find out all the details of genetics. Understood now? So this person, Mendel, worked on the garden pea. He chose garden pea plant. Why? Now we will study about the reasons for Mendel's success. Reasons for success. This question is also asked, what are the reasons, or write any two reasons for Mendel's success. What were the reasons? I am not writing, I will just say. The reasons for Mendel's success are: number one, he selected the garden pea plant. So selection of the pea plant was one of the reasons behind his success. The selection of pea plant. Okay, why? Because pea plant has many characteristics that also we will study now. Now, what are the characteristics of pea plant that he selected for his experiment? I will say some of the points. Number one, it has a very short lifespan. Lifespan means if you grow the pea plant today, the seeds, within 2-3 months or 4 months you can get the result. Means the plant will be grown up. It will bear the seeds, and you can come to know what is the result of your experiment. Means what type of seed you have grown, what type of plants it can produce, whether short or tall plants, what type of color of flowers will be there, whether white or it will be of different color, what is the position of flower, what type of seed shape is there. So selection of pea plant. Second one, or the second reason for Mendel's success was he did one character. He selected one character at a time. Means he had done one character at a time. Character means what? This also you have to study one character at a time. He studied one character at a time. Okay? He studied one character at a time. Means if he is taking into consideration the height of the plant, he will only think about height, not about the color of the flower, not about the position of the flower or the shape of the seed. So this was also beneficial, because if you study one character separately, you can get the results precisely, correctly, without intermixing of all the results. Then the third one was he used mathematics. That is, he recorded all his observations, that is the results, tabulated them, kept record of all, and the use of statistics, we can say. Use of statistics. It is a part of mathematics, you know, statistics. Statistics. The spelling may be wrong. Statistics it is. Statistics. S-T-A-T-I-S-T-I-C-S. Statistics. Means in which we show the results by the bar graph or the pie chart and all, isn't it? And he used mathematics also, mathematical tools like statistics, to record all the numbers. Like he had made different types of ratios he obtained, like 3:1 ratio. So this ratio was of monohybrid cross. Then next one is why Mendel was successful? Because he always chose the pure bred variety. Understood? For his experiments, in your book also it is mentioned, he chose only those traits which show constant result. What is the meaning of that one? Like if a tall plant is there bearing the seeds will produce only tall plants. That is called pure bred. Pure bred, B-R-A-D, bred. Means if you take a seed of tall plant, it will produce only tall. There will be no dwarf plant in that generation or the coming generations. So he had selected that type of pure bred varieties. So that was also the reason behind his success. Now next one is why selection of garden pea. Only one point I said. What was that? It has a short lifespan. The second one, garden pea is bisexual, means both male and female flowers are present in the same. So it can help in self-pollination. And number 3, garden pea has big size flower, so that we can cover the anther or we can cover the stigma to help in the process of artificial pollination, so that we can put the pollens according to our desire. Means whichever we need, not that the wind will help in pollination and it will get the results which we do not expect. So we can change it according to our need. The next one is garden pea has different characters, contrasting characters. We will study about those 7 characters. I will just mark it on the board also so that you can learn. It is asked in the examination. What are the 7 contrasting characters which were selected for his experiment? And then, like one example I will give of the 7 characters, the height of the plant he considered. The dwarf and tall. These are the 2 different height. Either the plant can be tall plant or the plant can be short, which is also known as dwarf. Then the terminal position of the flower. Either the flower can be at the apex of the stem, that is called terminal flower, or the flower can be present here. This is called axial flower. Axillary, no, in the angle it is present. Then the seed shape, either the seed can be round or it can be wrinkled in shape. Understood? So these all are called the contrasting characters which he had selected for his experiment in the garden pea. Then next one is garden pea plant can be easily cultivated. It does not need large amount of space to grow a garden pea plant. Even in the kitchen garden also we can grow the pea seeds, and even in the pots also we can grow. So no need of large space or field or big plots are not needed for cultivation of pea plant. It's not a big tree, as you know, isn't it? Then next one is, it is easy to grow them. Generally self-pollination occurs in this plant, but if you want, you can make them cross-pollinate also. Like you can make the pollens to be deposited on the stigma of the desired plant, if you wish. So self-pollination generally occurs, but cross-pollination can be also ensured, or it can be done if we wish. Now next one is Mendelian technique. What is Mendelian technique? Mendel used two techniques for doing his experiments, and the name is bagging and emasculation. You should be aware of these two terms. What is emasculation? Emasculation means removal of anther from the flower. What is anther? Anther is the male part of the flower. It is a part of the stamen. This one is Mendelian techniques. I am writing only techniques used by Mendel for his experiments. Number one, emasculation. This word is used, so you should be aware of the term and the definition also. What is emasculation? Like this is the anther, bilobed anther is there. If I remove the anther, cut it and remove, this process of removal of anther, this is the anther, this one is the filament in the male part of the flower. This is the diagram of one stamen. So when we remove the anther, we are cutting it and removing it. This process is called emasculation. So definition of emasculation is removal of anther of a flower. Now why do we remove the anther? Any guess? What is the reason behind removing the anther? Because if we remove the anther of a flower, the pollens will not be released, that is the male gametes. It means self-pollination will be prevented. So if you want cross-pollination to take place, from the pea flower remove all the anther. It means within that flower the anthers which produce the pollens will never get deposited on the stigma, and that will prevent self-pollination. Okay. The second technique is called bagging technique. Now what is the meaning of bagging? Bagging means, like this one was for male part, bagging is for female part, like stigma is there, this one is the style, and the ovary is there. Now if you take a plastic sheet and cover it, cover the stigma, entire stigma, then even if the pollens are produced, they cannot be deposited. Why? Because there is a covering around it. Polythene bag you can take. So this process of covering the surface of stigma with the help of a plastic is called bagging. Why it is done? It is done to prevent self-pollination, or if you do not want the cross-pollination to occur, then also you can use bagging technique. Because if the stigma surface is not exposed, how come the pollens which are brought by different pollinating agents like wind, water will get deposited here? Because no chance of getting it deposited, because covering is there. Okay, but if you want to do that pollination, if man want to do, like scientists want to perform, they can remove the plastic and deposit the or dust the pollen grains on the surface to bring about artificial pollination. Okay. Now there are certain terminologies, terms, in short what I will say, certain terms which are required to study in this chapter. What are these terms? One by one I will explain. Number one, terms related to genetics. Okay. Number one is allele. Allele or allelomorphs it is called. Allelomorphs. Okay. Now what is allelomorphs? First you understand and then definition. Alternative forms of the same gene is called alleles. Shortest definition. Like a gene contains, it is in pair. Like this one is one, this one is another one. So these two alternative forms of the same gene is called alleles. Now these are the points where genes are located. This point is called locus. What is it called? L-O-C-U-S. These are the chromosomes. These two lines I have drawn, they are the chromosomes. And this locus I have drawn here. Okay, so what are they? They are chromosomes. And this one is called locus, L-O-C-U-S. And here if I want, I can mark the genes A, B, C, D, E, F. What are they? They are the genes. So genes are located on the surface of chromosomes in a linear fashion. Okay? So alternative form of the same genes is called alleles. What is the definition? Alternative forms of a gene that occurs in the same locus, like same position they are found. Like if I say example of alleles, capital T is small t. See, both are for height. One is for tallness, other one is for dwarfness. Okay, this capital T is for tallness, and this is small t is for dwarfness. Understood now? So what is alleles? It is a pair of genes that control the same character and located in the same chromosomes, same locus of the chromosomes. It's the alternative form of a gene. It is a pair. One pair is here, you can see. Here one pair means two. So two genes are there in two different forms. They are called alternative forms of a gene. It's called alleles or allelomorphs. Now next one is homozygous. What is the meaning of homo? Homo means similar. Zygous means it comes from the word zygote. Homozygous means an individual in which both the alleles are similar. It's called homozygous. Example, this capital T, it is homozygous tall. This one is small t, This is called homozygous dwarf. So both are homozygous only. This is called homozygous tall, and this one is also called homozygous dwarf. Means both the alleles of the genes, they are of the same type, small only. But if it is like this capital T, small t, it is called heterozygous. Why? Hetero means different. This is different, this is different. This one is capital, this is small. So such type of gametes are called heterozygous. So next term is heterozygous also. So individuals which possess similar pairs of genes are called homozygous individuals, and the individuals which possess or which contains different pairs of genes which are dissimilar, that is called heterozygous. Okay? Now next, what is dominant factor? What is recessive factor? Like see, in a hybrid, this is a hybrid. Why? Because it contains two different alleles of the same height. If in this one, this capital T is expressed, it is called dominant. If the plant is tall and has the genetic constitution capital T, small t, this capital T is dominant, and this one, that is the genes for dwarfness, is hidden or recessive. So that character is called recessive. So how to define it? What is dominant character? The character which is expressed itself in an individual is called dominant character, and the character which is not expressed in F1, that is in the generations or in the individuals, they are called recessive parents. It doesn't mean that they do not contain the genes. Genes are present, they may be expressed further in some other generations. Okay? Now next one is reciprocal cross. What is reciprocal cross? What is cross? First you understand what is cross. Cross is a mating between two individuals, like male and female. That is also called fertilization. But here we use the term cross in plants. So cross What type of cross? Three different types of cross is there. Reciprocal cross. Reciprocal cross. A cross in which the parents are interchanged is called reciprocal cross. Like here I am taking capital T, capital T. This one is the symbol of male. Is crossed with. This one is the symbol of female. And it is small t, the genetic constitution. Okay? So this one cross means fertilization between them. Okay? Now this one is P means parent generation. What are the parents? Male is homozygous tall, female is homozygous dwarf. Now a cross in which the parents are interchanged. Now this one is the male. See, this one is male. Now I will change it to female. And this one, it will become the male. This type of cross is called reciprocal. Understood? Like in maths also, reciprocal of 5, 1 by 5, no? So here reciprocal means just reverse we do. Okay? Now next one is back cross. Definition I am not writing, already you will get it in the book also. What is back cross? A cross between F1 hybrid with any of the parents. Like when you cross them, let me cross it so that you can understand what is back cross. Like this one is the parents, they will produce the gametes. Here both the gametes contain the similar genes, that is capital T, capital T. Here also both the gametes are small t only. G means gametes. Parents, gametes. Okay? Now, when we write F1, F1 means first filial generation. What is it called? First filial generation. Means the first generation which is produced. Now, when we join these gametes, this is fusion of gametes, that is fertilization. The first one is capital T, small t. All of them will be similar only. Then this one fuses with the second gamete here of the second parent, same capital T, small t. Again this one, second gamete fuses with the first one, capital T, small t. Second gamete fuses with the second gamete, small capital T, small t. Same only, capital T, small t. So you can see all of them have similar genetic constitution, capital T, small t. They are called the F1 hybrid. Now, what was I was saying? I was saying about the back cross we are talking. Back cross means a cross between F1 hybrid. If it is crossed with either this one, or if it is crossed, this one is crossed with this one, any one. Suppose it is crossed with this one, it is called recessive back cross. What is it called? Recessive back cross. So how to define recessive back cross? A cross between F1 individual with the recessive parent. A cross between the F1 individual with the dominant character or the dominant parent is called dominant back cross. What is it called? Dominant back cross. Understood this one? What is dominant back cross? A cross between F1 individuals with the dominant parent. Dominant parent means the parent who shows the generation. Like parent is tall, in F1 all the plants are also tall. They are heterozygous, this is homozygous. That is the difference. Homozygous means similar alleles are there. But here dissimilar alleles are there. Got it? Now next, what is test cross? One more definition is there. Test cross means test cross. A cross between F1 with the recessive one, recessive parent, is called test cross. That is the definition. So if you have to learn what is test cross, you will write test cross is a cross which is done between the F1 hybrid with the recessive parent. Okay? Now next we have monohybrid cross. Some more terms are there. Monohybrid, dihybrid. Okay, so next one is monohybrid cross. Okay, let's do now monohybrid cross. Mono means single. Hybrid, cross. So how to write in short what is monohybrid cross? A cross in which only one character is considered. A cross in which a single Mono, here given the word mono means single, one. A single character is considered or taken into account, or single character is only used. That is called monohybrid cross. Like I will take only one character, height. Just now I had done the cross, a tall plant crossed with a dwarf plant. So such type of cross in which a single character is only taken is called monohybrid cross. Example, if you want to write monohybrid cross, capital T crossed with small t, small t. Only height has been taken. Now, if I want to write next one, dihybrid cross. Dihybrid cross. And what is the definition of di means two? So same definition like this only. A cross in which instead of single there will be two characters are considered. The example I will write here so that you will understand. Example is red. Capital R denotes the red color. Two are used because their genes are in pairs. And yellow, so capital Y is crossed with green, small r. This one is red, round and yellow. Suppose this one is round, I will write it here, yellow. Two characters I am taking. The seeds are round and yellow. Color is yellow, shape is round. It is crossed with the seeds which are wrinkled, small r here denotes wrinkle shape. Wrinkled, and this is yellow, so here it will be green because yellow is the dominant one, this green one. So this type of cross in which two characters are there. Here two characters are crossed with two characters are considered. Such type of cross in which two characters are there is called dihybrid cross. Got it? Now next we have to study is what is hybrid. Hybrid means it is this word is used for both plants and animals. Hybrid is the individual obtained by fertilization or crossing of two different parents with different characters. Like a hybrid plant that contain characters of both the parent plant, or a hybrid animal like mule is a hybrid. In animals I am saying mule is a hybrid of donkey and horse. So it is a hybrid mule, which is obtained by crossing of donkey and horse. Similarly, we have the hybrid plants which are obtained by crossing two different plants with different characters. Okay. Now, next one is genotype and phenotype. Okay, so now next we have genotype. What is genotype? The genetic constitution of an individual is called genotype. Genetic constitution means makeup. Genetic constitution of an organism is called genotype. Example, the genotype of tall plant, this is also genotype. This is called homozygous tall, and this one is also genotype. It is called heterozygous tall. So both the plants are tall here, but their genetic constitution is different. This one is homozygous, both capital T. This is called heterozygous, in which one capital T, one small t is there. Understood? Now next we have phenotype. Phenotype is defined as the expressed characters, means outside whatever characters are seen, which is genetically controlled. So physical appearance, the physical appearance of an individual, which is genetically controlled is called phenotype. Example, this plant is tall, this is also tall, but this plant is dwarf. Why? Because both are homozygous dwarf. This one can never be dwarf. Why? Because this capital T is dominant. Dominant means like two characters are there. If here two characters are there, the genes for tallness and dwarfness both are present. Only one is able to express itself in the first generation. Okay? One is hidden or recessive. So the character which is expressed is called dominant character. The character which is not expressed is called recessive character. Alright? Now next is the differences between genotype and phenotype. Genotype is the genetic constitution. Phenotype is the physical appearance. Genotype of an individual cannot be changed because it is controlled by the genes, but phenotype or the physical appearance of an individual can change. Understood? Physical appearance of a person, he can apply some artificial means to change his physical appearance. Okay? Like a person who is dark can apply different types of face mask to appear more bright. Okay? Or more fairer. So that physical appearance can be changed, but genetic constitution cannot be changed. It is genetically controlled. Now next, monohybrid cross experiment. What is the meaning of monohybrid cross experiment? An experiment which was done by Mendel, in which a single character is considered, is called monohybrid cross experiment. Okay? Like already I have shown you that Mendel monohybrid cross experiment. Now what is this monohybrid cross experiment? The parent plants, two parent plants are considered. One is tall, the other is dwarf. Both of them are pea plant only. This tall plant has the genetic constitution capital T, dwarf plant small t, small t. This is their genetic constitution. Tall and dwarf plants are crossed. Then they produce the gametes. The gametes are same capital T. Here also same small t, small t. Now I have forgot to explain one word. What is Punnett square? Just now I will draw it here, and so it is the graphical representation. Graphical representation means now to write the F1 hybrid I will use that Punnett square only. So this is the Punnett square. It is a graphical representation in which we write the male gamete towards one side, here male and female gamete. Suppose this one is taken as male plant, this one is taken as female plant. So here male I am taking, and here I will take the female. Down one, this side female, this side male. So what are the male gametes? Capital T. What are the female gametes? Small t, small t. Now I will cross them. So graphical representation in which we show the meeting of or the crossing of two different gametes of two different individuals. So just how to fill it up? Just see what is written here, capital T, here small t. So capital T, small t. Here also capital T, this one is small t in this box. Similarly here capital T and a small t. Here capital T we write first and a small t. Okay? So here you can see all the four plants are heterozygous term. So in monohybrid cross experiment, Mendel found that in the F1 generation all the plants were tall. Now when he had done the selfing of F1 generation, selfing means these two plants were now taken as parents. So I will show you the result. What will be the result in F2 generation? F2 means second generation. Okay, it's important to learn that second generation also. So now see, now the parents are capital T, small t, capital T, small t. These two are taken as parents. Now their gametes, two different types of gametes are there. Capital T, small t. Here also capital T, small t. Now in F2 generation, they were the F1 plants. We are crossing them only to obtain the F2 generation. What happens in F2 generation, you can see. If you want, you can do the Punnett square. So let's draw the Punnett square only. It's simple and easy to do. Okay. Okay, let's see. So here capital T, small t. Here also same, capital T, small t. This one is male, this one is suppose female. So male, female you can draw. Now see, capital T, capital T. Both are capital T here. In the second one, capital T, small t. Third one, capital T, small t. Fourth one, both are small t. Now let's look at the result. There are four plants produced in the F2 generation. Now, how many plants are tall? This is tall. This is also tall. This is also tall. One is dwarf. So, 3 are tall is to ratio I am writing 1 dwarf. So this question is asked, what is the monohybrid cross ratio? This ratio 3:1. This ratio is called phenotypic ratio. What type of ratio it is? Physically. How the plants appear? 3 plants are tall, 1 is dwarf. So this is called phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio. And if it is asked what is the genotype of F2 hybrid, this one was phenotype. Phenotype means phenotype ratio is there. What is the phenotype? 3 are tall, 1 is dwarf. That is called the phenotype, and this is called phenotypic ratio. Now, if you want to know the genetic constitution or genotype of F2 plant, you can see 1 is homozygous tall. So 1 homozygous tall. I am not writing. I am just writing that genes capital T, capital T. It is called homozygous tall. Is 2 are same like this only. Both are capital T small t, capital T small t. So that is called heterozygous tall. So I am just writing genes. Is 1 is homozygous dwarf. That is small t, small t. So 1 is 2 is 1. This ratio is called genotypic ratio. This is asked in the examination. What is the genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross? What is the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross? What is monohybrid cross? Understood? So next class we can continue with this one. What we say? Dihybrid cross and Mendel's laws also. Okay? Till then you can just go through the video once or twice. If any doubt is there, you can ask me. Okay? Thank you.